Oi, punters, you want to know who the shadow government of Australia really is? It's probably no surprise. Take a look. Oh, while you're there, hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon so you stay up to date when I drop the next video. On with it. These are the faces of Australia's billionaires who control your government. But the government they control the most is the Western Australian government. So share this with a punter in WA that doesn't know how scammed they're getting. So we've got mining mogul Chris Ellison. Who the hell is that? I'd never heard of him either. Don't worry, here he is. Meet WA's mining billionaire you've never heard of. Correct, I've never heard of him. Oh boy, Chrissy Ellison, billionaire Chris Ellison, is the Minerals Resources Managing Director. Who's Minerals Resources? Well, they mine some stuff. Yeah, MinRes is a mining services company. They put out a lot of propaganda to just really make the whole mining sector look really great, but they mine a bit of stuff as well. So you got Chris Ellison, you've got Kerry Stokes, who owns Channel 7. You got mining and media mogul Kerry Stokes, and then we have our good old favorite Gina Rinehart. There she is, Australia's richest billionaire, who loves a bit of media attention, it turns out. So what does it look like when these billionaires control your government, Western Australia? Well, here's what it looks like. It looks like this. Warnings over gas shortages. Now, we have been seeing these warnings for decades. Every year, the gas companies come out and start crying, well, we don't have enough gas. You need to let us drill some more. We say, hey, what are you doing with that gas? They're saying, well, we're clearly shipping it overseas and selling it to overseas buyers. We're like, hey, but we don't have enough here. Why are you selling all our gas? They say, shush, let us drill. That's pretty much the story. And so this year is no different. We have had hysterical warnings of ever yet more gas shortages. Now, we're coming back to WA in a second, because there is a difference between the eastern states and WA. Now, the question is, and I've mentioned it before in other videos, does Australia have a gas shortage? Well, the short answer is no. The longer answer is, in some eastern states, because we have the gas in WA, Northern Territory, a bit of Queensland, a bit of New South Wales, but Victoria doesn't have as much. And so, yeah, we have it in Australia, but our other states have trouble getting it because we don't have gas pipelines, and then we might have to send a ship from here to here and build a port for that. So the TLDR of Australia's gas shortages, there is no Australia-wide gas shortage, but some states might have issues. Now, why do some states have issues and others don't? In 2021, don't mention that because it'll shadow ban my video, former Premier Mark McGowan banned the export of onshore gas. So if your gas was being drilled onshore, Marky McGowan said, that's for Aussie punters consumption. Everything drilled offshore often gets exported. And the real clincher, I've mentioned it 100 times in other videos, it gets exported mostly royalty free. Hey, if you drill the gas over there, you can have it for free. This is how dumb we are. This is what happens when these billionaires are our shadow government. So what does it look like when billionaires control your government? Well, it looks like this next sentence right here. But carved out one exemption. But Marky McGowan says, oi, gas companies, anything drilled onshore is for domestic gas consumption. Got it? Oh, except for Japanese firm Mitsui and Beach Energy. Who, in fact, could be Beach Energy? I've heard of that before. Who might be a billionaire with a massive stake in Beach Energy? Beach Energy's biggest shareholder is Mr. Kerry Stokes. Why would Marky McGowan, who should be making policy for us, well, I'm not in WA, but for punters in WA, be giving a sweetheart deal to this billionaire? Well, it might have something to do with the fact that Channel 7 dominates in Western Australia, and he can make Marky McGowan's life a bit of hell by using his propaganda machine. But maybe he was just auditioning for his future job. What's his future job? Well, Crikey reporting here, Mark McGowan has been auditioning for his new mining job for 6 years. He has taken a few little cushy gigs, heading BHP, and with a side hustle of MinRes, working for this billionaire you've never heard of, Chris Ellison. And it looks as if he was working for some of these billionaires while he was supposed to be working for us. It doesn't end there. So back to this news article here. Does Australia have gas shortage? Well, the short answer is hell no. Here's a report from the Australia Institute showing just how much we've started exporting all of our gas, and just how much gas is being used for domestic consumption, and just how much is being used for export. So if only the eastern states, which are now suffering for all these gas shortages, were as smart as WA, even though Marky McGowan did carve out a massive exemption for a billionaire in the future industry he's going to work in. Even though he did that, he did input a gas reservation strategy, something that the eastern states did not, which is why they are suffering with more of a gas shortage. Because remember, what's happening to all our gas? It's being shipped overseas. Why? Because our governments, Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria, we let them. We make the rules and we let them export it. Well. There has been a recent inquiry. So in WA, these billionaires with their onshore gas projects have been calling to saying, hey, WA government, can you let us export it? Because that's working so well for the eastern states. And so there was an inquiry. And thank goodness for some functionings of the government. The inquiry comes out and it says, Western Australia, as it stands, even with its current policy, is potentially going to be facing a gas shortage. So how does the second largest LNG exporter always be running out of gas? What is going on? Remember, the answer is these people. That's how it keeps happening. And in this inquiry, it comes out that major producers, including Woodside, have not been meeting the requirement to supply 15% of their gas to WA. So Western Australia make the rules. They carve out some sweetheart deals for their billionaire future job prospects. And then it turns out that the rules that they implement, these billionaire bludgeon companies, are not even obeying the rules. What's it called when a government sets a rule and then someone else breaks that rule? Oh, that's right. It's called breaking the law. It's illegal. But it turns out, I don't know, there are no consequences for these companies. There are no consequences for these people. So WA is facing another gas shortage, and it's because the rules that they implement are not even being obeyed. So obviously the inquiry comes out and says, hey, we need to tighten up those rules and make sure people are following them. Because under WA's domestic reservation policy, 15% of the gas field is supposed to be set aside for the local market. However, the application of this policy varies between projects. If you're a large billionaire corporation, the way that you control the government is by sitting at the table when they write the laws and make sure that there are carve-outs for you, whether that's Kerry Stokes in his own mind, or whether you make it so complicated and different that you can get away with breaking the rules and pleading ignorance for it and then not getting in trouble for it. So they're supposed to reserve 50% of their gas local market. They haven't been doing. Chief among them is Woodside's Energy Pluto project, which critics argue had been supplying a tiny fraction of its required rate for years. When companies like this break the rules that we make for them, that the government makes for them, it costs us money. If there's a shortage, what happens to your energy bills? They go up. And who is responsible for these shortages? These bludgers. So that extra profit that they make from exporting the gas instead of selling it to us, they make that money off the back of us, we punters, paying more money and paying the price. These profit-driven decisions by these corporate billionaire bludgers leave us every single day of the week holding the bill, sitting at the table by ourselves with our pants down, paying the check every single damn time. And what do we do about it? We just have little inquiries. So now Western Australia, you bloody punters, have a new premier. Do you think that this new premier is going to crack down hard on this corporate illegal activity? Do we think he's going to make rules that benefit we the punters and not his billionaire future job prospects? Let's find out.
For 70 years, people have been walking into work at Woodside. These days,
here is Sky News, and here is what could only be described as a corporate billionaire propaganda puff piece to try and convince punters that Woodside is actually good for you, that Woodside actually cares about you, and that you should have a government that makes life really easy for Woodside. Let's see who we find featuring in this puff piece of propaganda.
A third of all Woodside's gas has gone into our domestic market, which means it's powered our homes, it's powered our industry. And it's been a really important...
It's Roger Cook, the new Premier of WA, sitting down for this Sky News propaganda piece telling us how great Woodside is, how great it is that we have gas being supplied to our domestic market. I think he missed the memo that these bludgers that are supposed to be supplying the Western Australian domestic market are actually just bludgeon out on their responsibilities and just shipping it overseas to make even more money. So do we really think, punters, do we really think that anyone who would say yes to appearing on a billionaire's news network, spruiking a billionaire corporation that's breaking your own rules, who's almost definitely looking for a future job in the fossil fuel industry, do we really think that this bloke is going to do what's required to hold these companies to account so they stop scamming us? I'll leave that question to you. I would never make such severe an accusation, but you decide. But who else can we find in this documentary shilling for billionaires?
Without companies such as Woodside, how else will we pay for health and education, childcare, issue of aged care, all...
Okay. Ignore what he's bloody saying. Without companies like Woodside, we'd be, yeah, if they paid our fair share, imagine I could get dental in Medicare. We could have free university, but instead we choose to give those profits to these billionaires. Who's this bloke just shilling as hard as he can? I've mentioned him before in other videos. His name is Martin Ferguson. Does that name ring a bell? It should. He is the bloke who used to be the Minister for Resources and Energy under Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard. And he amended / wrote / did adjustments to what's known as the PRRT, the Petroleum Resources Rent Tax. And that is the tax / resources system that essentially results in our gas petroleum revenue sitting at $48 billion, whilst we down here, this is you and me, this is us punters, getting nothing for what we are exporting. We are giving away our nation's wealth for free. Remember, Qatar made $76 billion in 1 year. We make barely 2 of $48 billion in revenue. Is the bloke that made those rules. And where did he go and work just weeks after leaving his public servant office? Well, he went to work for the shadow government, of course. Who's the shadow government? Well, he went to become a non-executive chairperson of British Gas just weeks or 1, 2, I don't know, just it's either 1 or 2 weeks after leaving federal politics, after having become a chair of the chief advisory body for Australia's peak lobbying propaganda body. This is where it always leads. Why do I keep coming back to this? Because these bludgers are our shadow government. And now, where does this bludger pop up to tell me that we should be grateful to lick the boots of this company that's exploiting our resources, getting them for free? A lot of these companies don't pay tax. I know Woodside pays more than, let's say, Santos or Inpex. And then he has the nerve to sit there and tell me that I should be grateful for the pennies that they throw at me. The guy that wrote the rules and then went to work directly for them. Now, you tell me, was he writing the rules to benefit us, or was he writing the rules to benefit his future job prospects and his future employer? Did he ever work for us, or is he always working for these blokes? Because I'll tell you where he is right now. He's there right now spreading the absolute propaganda and storyline that is.
The majority of Australians need companies such as Woodside because they are the key to our future wealth.
I can't even sit and listen to him with a straight face. You know, like, part of it's true. We do need companies like Woodside, right? They help us take what we own and add value to it and sell it, right? But we don't need companies like Woodside when they rig the rules, when they buy off our politicians with the prospect of future jobs, when they take the resources and take all of the upside, all of the profit, and then turn around and have the nerve to tell us that we need them and they're paying their fair share. Absolute scam. Even if by some lucky chance our government makes a rule that is going to benefit us just this much, right? Once again, I think we should be getting free gas. I think Woodside should have a 35% stake in our gas and we should have the rest, just like Norway. I think we should have a $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund that comes from the proceeds of our mining resources. We don't. And even by some miracle, if there's a tiny policy that holds these guys in line by 1 centimeter, they don't even obey the policy. They don't even do what they're required of them. Because you know what? These bludgers are above the law. They're not only above the law, they write the law. And if they break the law, there are no consequences. So they will keep doing and taking whatever they can. We are not going to get what we are owed until our politicians stop working for what really is our shadow government. So, could this change? Yes, I genuinely believe we could change this. It just requires every single Aussie punter that you know to be aware of and know this scam that these billionaire bludgers have been pulling on us for decades. The more every single Aussie punter knows and understands the basic facts that these resources are ours and we should primarily benefit from them. And as soon as we stop believing the billionaire funded propaganda by billionaire owners that own our media to feed feed us all these lies, to feed us all this propaganda until every punter understands that we own these resources and we should primarily benefit from them, that is when things can change. So please share this with a punter who might not know just how scammed we're getting. I know I've made a lot of videos on this, but I'm going to keep hammering it because I truly believe these guys are essentially our shadow government. If share this with a punter who might not know just how scammed we're getting, massive thanks to We the Punters over on Patreon. These are the punters that keep me making videos that I think are important, like this one, and not just the videos that get the clicks. They keep me free from the algorithm, so to speak. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Cheers, punts.